Some things are impossible to know, but it is impossible to know these things.
Hello, good day, and welcome to
Paul Schindler, podcast on things is here for you.
Not surprisingly, I'm your host, Paul Schindler. Thank you for listening. A quote and a walk down memory lane. Susan B. Anthony said it, distrust those people who know so well what God wants them to do, because I notice it always coincides with their own desires. Don't expect a thank you. In 1975, I read an article in Esquire, back when I read Esquire, that said you have no reason to expect your boss to thank you for your work. Your thanks come when they bring you your paycheck. How quaint. Checks. About quotes. In the 1950 movie A Lonely Place, Humphrey Bogart is playing the role of Dixon Steele, who says, "I was born when she kissed me, I died when she left me, I lived a few weeks while she loved me." Now, I might add, something's better than nothing, but would we still remember this brilliant summary of love if Andrew P. Salt had said it at a party or even before a full house at Carnegie Hall? No. Yet these are not Bogart's words. He just read them. Andrew P. Salt wrote them into a script. All of the dozens of quotes from Bogart were written by someone else and performed by Bogart. Thus the question arises, do the words persist or even enter the public mind by themselves? No, they gain notoriety through their performance. I doubt that anyone would still be quoting Andrew Salt after 68 years. I've experienced much the same thing. I wrote dozens of love poems for my wife, and then with the help of others, I turned a couple of dozen of them into songs. Would I still remember the poem, "You Put My Heart on a Silver Plate," 5 years after writing it? No, but I can recite it verbatim while singing it. You put my heart on a silver plate, cared for mine just like your own, never abused, just held on loan. Earworms, indeed. The difference between a poem and a song, among other things, is how much easier it is to remember a song, and how much more likely it is that someone else will even sit still for the words. I defy you to find 20 civilians, that is, people who devote zero time pondering the wonders of show business, who don't think that Elvis Presley wrote Hound Dog and Frank Sinatra wrote That's Life. Jerry Lieber and Mike Stoller, who wrote Hound Dog, and Dean Kaye and Kelly Gordon, who wrote, pardon me, let me read that again. Kelly Gordon and Dean Kaye, who wrote the song What's Life, might all be saddened by this error until the day each month when they or their heirs cash the royalty checks. However, Taylor Swift writes all of her songs, and the Beatles, after covering the work of others early on, also wrote all of theirs. So sometimes impressions are correct, as are attributions. Some singers credit the writers during public performances, but most don't. It would be a nice habit. About quotes. You know, I'm not fond of AI. I don't consider it capable of original thought. Most people I know in the field agree. It can be, however, a great boon to searches and synthesis. And while I intensely dislike what it's doing in HR, for example, summarizing and then rejecting job applications without human involvement, I have to confess that the AI in WordPress is amazing. I wrote an essay I entitled Love Cycle and Quote Cycle. The AI renamed the post and offered an SEO summary. The new name was The Power of Performance, Quotes, Songs, and Memory. And that's the item I just read to you. The SEO summary was Explore the Impact of Performance on Memorable Quotes and Songs, from Bogart's films to Taylor Swift's authentic writing journey. Color me impressed. WordPress's default is to allow the site to rename your post, in terms of its appearance on browser tabs and the title shown when you share the link on the page itself. Still my title, Love Cycle and Quote Cycle. I can probably turn off the default, but unless it retitles a page devoted to my love songs as Writer Begging for Sex, I will leave the AI turned on. He who must not be named. Talk about the law of unintended consequences. Suppose you make H-1B visas too expensive to be practical because you want to force companies to hire more Americans. Instead, the companies move overseas, depriving Americans of jobs. There is someone in American life who does not know the meaning of the words honesty, loyalty, empathy, and decency. He clearly does not know the meaning of many other words. He could never be a Boy Scout. They have to be trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. And I did that from memory from 1966. You give him the score you think he deserves. Because of this, he's told the Department of Defense to stop cooperating with the Scouts. He claims it's because they are co-ed. Clearly, he's lashing out at his low score on the Scout oath. Well, today's walk-off music is Sweet Mia's gender-reversed version of You're the Only Woman Man Enough to Bask in My Love, which has been renamed for her version as Just Bask in My Love. The title came before the lyrics. Some people, when they heard the title, You're the Only Woman Man Enough to Bask in My Love, said to me, why bother with the lyrics? The title's perfect. On the other hand, my daughter said, it makes your mom sound like a man. Well, no, it's an idiom and a great title. And by the way, they didn't say your mom. They said my wife. I paid the Welsh wonder to set the words to music. He recorded it. I recorded it. That folk guy covered it. And now Marvelous Mia has covered the gender-reversed version. Here's the new one. Mia's cover, the best so far, the most country.
You're the only man who's man enough. I think it was for that I lived. I just better let it flow. Seems it scared someone it showed. You're the only man who's man enough to bask in my love. It's true, I was just born that way. Love flows from me night and day. I thought boys would be so impressed, and yet some felt me too obsessed. When I was young, sentimental, love for me was instrumental. My love for all was reflected. That was what I then expected. You're the only man who's man enough to bask in my love. And I grew up to have lovers, and when I found that some others, some boys, they just cannot fake it. When love flows, they cannot take it. I found one boy, push come or shove, who did not run when shown my love. Turns out it was easy to do. Guess what, boy? That boy was you. You're the only man who's man enough to bask in my. You're the only man who's man enough to bask in my love.
Well, all good things must come to an end, and so must this podcast. Thank you for listening. That's my opinion. I'm Paul Schindler.